All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Another Behind the Beat episode for the month of June. Officially summertime. Um, but depending on where you are, if you're where I am, it's not really that great of weather still. I mean, I'm looking outside right now and it's, cloudy, rainy, all that stuff. Even the lighting's not too good in the room right now. But we're here regardless, and hopefully you're doing okay where you are as well. And today's beat breakdown is a track that just dropped at the end of May by my friend artist JayTrey. Obviously, I've done a good amount of breakdowns for JayTrey's tracks over the years, even back when I started this in like 2019, the original Behind the Beat. I was doing tracks from his projects Basilia, Phoenix, all those early works that we had. And if you know me, or if you've been familiar with my work, I worked with JayTrey from the beginning. Probably heard the story if you've heard any of the interviews I've done. Um, that's who I started out making music with, and we're still making a ton of songs today. And we're currently in the process of releasing a lot of these singles for a project he's doing called Gray Matter, which will kind of be a precursor to a bigger project later on. We just have so many songs stashed away, and we just decided in the last couple months that we're just going to put some of these out. And one of these is the one that just dropped like I said, at the end of May, called Floating. This is going to be a pretty quick one. This is another one that I did on my old laptop, ended up moving the files over. Don't have a date for this one of like when it was made, but if I have to like take a guess, I would say probably 2022, probably the beginning of 2022, somewhere in there. I feel like this is one of the ones we did pretty early on, so we've kind of had it sitting around for a while, but we both still thought it was a pretty good record and could just release it on its own. So we'll get right into it here. And we start out with the bass of, I believe, Poison, which I've mentioned several times on here before, FL native plugin. I'll play you what that sounds like. And it's just that repeated throughout. Comes in on pretty much where the verses begin, and then it stays for a part of where the chorus would be as well, with a little bit of drop in the middle, and then picks it back up again. So, your usual basic pattern for the bass tone. I just love, I forget, I think it's called like click bass is what that particular one is called. I use that more than anything on the Poison plugin. Like I use that bass more than anything. I just turn the attack down and just filter it a little bit. And then when I EQ it a certain way where it just kind of fits the tone and it just uplifts whatever the drums might be. So I'm almost positive that's exactly what that is as well on this one. The drums on this thing are a lot more basic than what I would usually do. I usually try to have drums that stand out a little more unique. I might go out on a limb and say these are like Looperman drums. Like they're pretty basic drums, but I just felt they kind of fit the energy of this song. So I went ahead and used them, and I'll let you hear them first, and then we'll talk about like what's in them. Obviously the kick has to punch through very well, and that succeeds on doing that. I hear like the open hi-hats. I also hear like a little bell or a little chime in there like toward the end of the four bars. And it just kind of repeats. There's nothing really special about those drums, if I'm being honest, but they work with what the record is at the end of the day, and just keeps the energy super high and super elevated. So next up is the main part, which is that guitar. This, I believe, was probably from Pigments, and I probably just came up with a simple variation of it, of whatever the sound was. I can't really pinpoint which one it was, but they do have some nice guitar sounds in Pigments that I like to use. And I was pretty happy with how this one turned out. So let's hear that by itself. I think it was sped up a little bit too. So I probably started out because I like to make a lot more slow records for the most part, and I keep the BPM super low. This one's a 136, which is a lot quicker. So maybe I was like, man, I want to switch it up and make it a faster pace. So I think that's what I did. It has a little bit of variation in there, but it's some type of an acoustic guitar sound that has some reverb on it, has a little bit of distortion to it as well, and just made that throughout. And that's really the main part of the song that you hear the most. And then the final sound of the beat is right before when you get into the pre-chorus, which is where those drums drop off. Like when you hear the song, it will all make sense when you hear the final song. But then right before the hook or into the hook as well, those pads are there. So let's play those without the guitar. My bad. And that has tones of kind of a choir mixed with a synth that's like super low. So, however, I EQ'd that, I definitely took all of the high end out and kept the low end. But I probably got rid of the bass tones in it so it doesn't clash with the actual bass line itself. But it just adds like something else. And I thought it complemented the guitar very well, also. The other three things you see on here are the takes, the vocal takes. And I was actually the one that ended up mixing the final version of this song, which I don't do a ton. I've been trying to get more into mixing in recent years because admittedly, I'm just not a very good mixer of final songs. I can rough mix songs pretty well, but mixing vocals, things like that, unless it's simple like this, you see there's only 7 sounds in this whole beat. That's a bit different. But when I gotta mix like 20 sounds, I'm like, man, I'm gonna leave it to the people that do this for a living, or they're just engineers primarily, and I feel like they can do a better job. But I did end up mixing this final version. I don't think I did a whole lot. I mean, there's a right here would be where the effects are, that channel. I didn't even label it, but the effects channel, I just put some delays on there on the vocals and sharpened it up a little bit and did a final master. But that's pretty much the whole thing. So we'll play the beat all together. We'll play it from where the hook would come in, just so you get an idea here. And yeah, I think this is one of those ones you don't have to think about it too much. It's just you have fun with a song like this. You know what I mean? I felt like putting this out now was super super cool thing to do because it's kind of like just a song you would throw on in the summertime. Not too like deep or introspective or anything. Just something you can have fun with. And yeah, I was happy with how it came out. I think it's cool to put a song like this out, especially it being in the hard drive for a while. And like I said, we have so much more that's about to drop. I mean, we're going to keep dropping these singles. Don't know when the project's going to be coming out, but it should be coming out later this year. And then, like I said, we have more coming out next year as well. But yeah, definitely go check this song out. It's called Floating by JayTrey. I'll put the link in the description of the DistroKid with all the streaming platforms so you can go check it out. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this one once again. And before we get out of here, it is June, and I don't always like to, promote myself or do those things, but it's my channel, so I can do whatever the hell I want to do. So I gotta say, I do have a project coming out myself this fall, And I will be announcing it on another podcast soon. I don't know if that interview will be out by the time this is out, but I'll give you guys the title of the project. It's called Unknown Advantage. It's my first like full instrumental album. Super excited about it. I'm actually dropping the first single called Horizon on June 28th. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I might even put the pre-save for that in the description as well. But I'm going to be doing like a big rollout for this album. Going to be doing like a vinyl release and giving people early access to music, like planning a bunch of cool stuff for this. So if you're a fan of what I do, if you like this channel, you like the style of music that I make, definitely just be on the lookout for that. I figured I'd let you guys know in advance. And I'll probably keep letting you know like throughout the course of the summer that it's going to be happening. But yeah, definitely just stay tuned in. And if you follow me on Instagram, which is Anthony underscore Church 24. That's primarily where I am. You'll see like the links in some of the beat videos to my TikTok and Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, just it's going to be exciting, and I'm super super happy about how the music turned out, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it whenever it drops. But until then, be on the lookout for these. We got another one coming next month, and that will actually be the breakdown for the track Horizon that I'm dropping at the end of June. So I'll talk more about all this stuff next month, I'm sure. But until then, thank you guys as always for watching. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I assume you are because this isn't a big channel, not a big following yet, but I appreciate it regardless. And thanks for your time, guys. And we'll see you next month.